Hello, and welcome to the Second Row Conversations podcast. I'm Letitia, also known as Lady P, and I'm so excited that you decided to join me today on the second row. First, let me thank everyone who's been reaching out, commenting, leaving me messages, letting me know how they've enjoyed the podcast. I truly, truly appreciate it. We are on this journey together, and I am grateful that you are right there with me. Today, I have a special guest. She is none other than Mrs. First Lady Nicki Spears. Hi, how are you?
I am doing well. Good morning.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much for joining me. This has been a long time coming.
Yes, it has.
If y'all only knew what it's taken for us to get to this point. We have talked about the fact it's almost like the enemy didn't want us to get together and talk, but we are here, and I'm glad we were able to get together. So thank you.
Right time, right place.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. All things work together.
Timing.
Right. Perfect timing. Absolutely. So thank you again for being willing to join me today. I appreciate it. I truly appreciate it. So, I start all podcasts off with the same question. So I'm gonna kick it off with you the same way. So what are 3 words that your friends would use to describe you?
3 words. Kind.
Okay.
Supportive. And probably an overthinker sometimes.
Ooh, overthinker. Really,
Yes.
really. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So I'm not gonna start with that. We're gonna come back to that.
All
So you said kind. What was the second one?
Supportive.
Supportive. Okay. Why would they? I know you're kind. That's
Okay.
it. Just you exude that. It comes out. That's who you are. Why supportive? Why do you think they would call you supportive?
Supportive because no matter where they are in life, what is going on, I'm going to be there to support.
Okay.
And really no judgment because we all have different stages in life.
Right.
So supportive, I'm going to be there.
Okay.
If at all possible, I'm going to be there.
That's
So,
good. No matter where they are, right?
No matter where they
judge
are.
free. And I
Right.
just to let you guys know, she is a school counselor.
Yes.
Right. So we have that in common.
Yes.
That's one thing. So we've learned how to support people and not judge them.
Right. And meet them where they're at.
Right,
Meet them where
absolutely.
they are. Yeah.
Right. There's a new trend going on. We listen and we don't judge.
Right.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Right. So as counselors, I think that's just we've always been doing that. We listen
Right.
and we don't judge. So being supportive is very important
Yes.
for those friends. And so overthinker. Why that? Why overthinker?
Because sometimes I can just try to be ahead of things, I guess.
Okay.
sometimes.
Okay.
Even with God, sometimes you be like, Nikki, like you can't plan it out.
Okay.
It's not gonna always go as you plan.
Okay.
So sometimes I can, hold conversations with them. It's like you overthinking it. Don't overthink it. Just let it flow.
Wow.
And I mean, and you say 3, I'm always like trying to help.
Okay.
So that's the overthinker part.
Okay.
Like,
Okay.
let's just try to do this. Let's try to do that. And sometimes it's just not gonna work out that way. But just being an overthinker, just trying to plan ahead.
Okay.
And that's probably because of that competitive spirit I have. I play ball. So,
Okay.
just always, wanting to
Be strategic and
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So you play basketball.
point
Okay.
guard. So
Okay.
you gotta control. You got to control the tempo, and sometimes you are in control of everybody else, and just making the plays, a playmaker. So
Wow.
that carries over into to my life. I ain't gonna say everybody else,
Okay.
but to
Okay.
mine.
So in that overthinking and trying to plan ahead, have there been times where you have found yourself in that space where it's like, okay, everything just fell apart. This is
Right.
not the way
Right.
I wanted it to be. How have you overcome that though? How have you overcome those times when that's happened?
Just being in the moment,
Okay.
and just taking it day by day, hour by hour, and just doing what I can do in that moment.
Okay. And you said God has told you, hey, okay, Nikki, this, I know you trying to plan and make sure everything is perfect, but I got that. Has that been difficult for you?
Oh yes, and I guess we'll probably get into that. Like even with Michael, being a caregiver.
Okay.
So I've said it before. I said it at his funeral. When he was sick, I tried to do everything possible, and then it was at the point to where God said, "You're not God.
Right.
You're Nicki, and you done all you can do. So that's it. That's all you can do.
That's all you can do. Right.
So, and it, like I say, as far as carrying over, it was a challenge. But like I said, I'm learning how to just live in the moment.
Okay.
And, plan, but don't try to overthink it.
Right.
Just plan it. And if it goes that way, it goes. If not, then it's okay.
It's okay.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
One day at a time.
One day at a time.
That is my motto. I tell folks all the time,
Yeah.
one day at a time.
One day
That's
at a
all
time,
you can
and
do.
I'm only one person.
Absolutely. Right.
So
Only
I
one
can't help
person.
everybody.
You can't. As much as you want to. Right.
Yeah, I cannot.
You have to learn that, okay, you know what? I've done all that I can do. And now I really have to give it over to the Lord.
Yes.
Which, and I saw your favorite scripture, Proverbs 3, 5 and 6, trust in the Lord.
Lord.
Right. With all your heart. And lean not into
to
your own understanding. Right.
understandings. Yes,
Right. In all your ways, acknowledge him and he'll direct your path. Absolutely. So in that overthinking and then learning how to release that, it's the trusting.
Yes.
That's where you get to the point of the trusting. So let's talk about Michael.
Okay.
Yeah. So you were married to him. When did y'all meet?
We met in, let's see, what year it was. I can't even think of what year it was. But we met.
Okay.
I met Michael at Blue Cross. We used to work together, so I met him there. And I met him through a coworker.
Okay.
So that's kind of how we started, talking.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then it flourished to something more.
Yes.
And then you guys get married.
Yes.
When did y'all get married?
We got married in 2006.
Okay.
Of May.
Okay. May 2000.
As a matter of fact, it was on my birthday.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
so
wow.
I always, for 16 years, he's always gotten me 2 presents. One for my birthday and one for our anniversary.
Awesome.
Always.
Never was like, here's one gift and that covers both of them.
I've always,
Awesome.
because I told him, I said, look here now.
Right.
But he did. He always gotten me 2 gifts.
Okay. Good.
Yes,
So when so y'all got married, and when did he come to you and say, hey, so we need to talk. The Lord has been dealing with me.
Talking about as far as his ministry.
Ministry, right.
So but when I met Michael, he was already in ministry.
Already in ministry.
He was
Awesome.
already in
Okay.
ministry, yes.
Okay.
He was already in ministry. But when we actually got married, he was already in ministry.
Okay.
Yes.
Was he pastoring at the time?
No, he was not.
He was not pastoring.
He was at New Ebenezer.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
But yeah, he was already in ministry.
Okay. And you were okay with that?
Yeah, because it was like, because when we actually kind of start talking, I was like, he's a minister. Like, so what that mean?
Okay.
For me.
Right. Yeah.
But, and I tell people all the time, like, even people that are their spouses or their significant other that are not in ministry, they're still human.
Right.
Don't forget that part. Because we do have folks that, figure like, oh, I can sit here, but they sit up here.
Yes.
No. I
at
will
all.
correct someone in a minute. That he or she is still a female and a male.
That's right.
They're still human.
That's right.
So they make mistakes just like you.
Absolutely.
They get in their car just like you.
Right.
Unless they have other, disabilities. But for the most part, they do the same thing you do.
They face struggles just like you. Right.
Exactly.
Right.
So it was, I dealt with that, and I was like, but not too much, because I think as the body of Christ, we all have a calling.
Absolutely.
It doesn't necessarily have to be in the pulpit.
That's right.
But we all have a calling.
That's right.
So, I grew up in the church.
Okay.
So it wasn't intimidating, but it was like you just realize that he's a minister.
Right.
So at the time, it was like just go with the flow.
Okay.
That I probably would say that was probably the living day by day.
Right.
And like I said, I met. He was a minister, but of course, I met Michael.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. And so who was Michael? Tell me, who was he?
Michael,
Not pastor, not reverend, but just Michael.
I mean, Michael was kind of like, he was a laid back person, very direct.
Okay.
I mean, well, he took that to the pulpit as well, but had a caring heart. Michael taught me about love.
Okay.
I mean, he taught me about love. So he was that person, very conservative.
Okay.
Very conservative.
Okay.
He wasn't a follower.
Okay.
Like what he said and what he wasn't gonna do. That
was
him. That was him.
Okay.
So, but like I said, very conservative, kind-hearted, love people.
Okay. Okay.
Love people. So, like I said, the love piece and how Christ loved the church. That was my
him.
Michael.
Okay.
And that's what I call him. I call him my Barack Obama.
Okay. Come on,
yeah.
Michelle.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
Michelle. Okay, you're Barack. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I
okay.
call him my Barack Obama.
Okay.
So that's what he was to me.
Okay.
And that's what kind of person he was. Like
Yeah.
I said, most people didn't have to figure out where he was coming from. I mean,
what you saw is what you
saw
got.
was what you got.
Right.
And he wasn't that person that was caught up on titles.
Okay.
So like when people met him, even when he became a pastor, or I mean when he was a minister, Minister Spears, he said, "You can call me Michael."
Okay.
So
yeah, wasn't important. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then that's not always the case.
no, it's
for
not
people,
It's not.
but
It's
right,
not.
yeah,
It's
but that's
not.
that just wasn't his personality.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. He
So-
had fun. He loved to laugh.
Okay.
Yeah, he loved to laugh.
Okay,
So you
okay.
said when you said
Yeah.
he loved to laugh.
Okay.
So that was him.
So he, you married him. He's a minister, and then when did he become a pastor?
He became a pastor in 2011
Okay.
at Olive Grove.
Okay. Okay.
So we were at New Ebenezer. He would go and preach other places
okay.
whenever that assignment came. And then in 2011, he got the assignment for being a pastor at Olive Grove.
Okay. So you go from minister's wife to now you are first lady, the pastor's wife. How was that transition for you?
I mean, it wasn't bad at all.
Okay.
And the people at Olive Grove, I mean, until this day, I love that family.
Okay.
It was a family to us, because we were there. I think it was 11 years. We were there 11 years, but the transition wasn't bad because I was active at New Ebenezer.
Okay.
And then going to Olive Grove, I still, it wasn't, no time to change anything now. You just keep doing what God allows you to do.
Absolutely.
So that's, the transition wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all.
Right. And that goes back, I think, to you talking about your purpose. If you have a purpose, you have a calling, and you are already doing what it is, working for the kingdom, then it's just a different
natural.
location.
Yeah, just a different
You're just
location.
moving locations. That's
Yeah.
all you're doing. It's still,
And just learning the people.
Absolutely.
That comes with the transition. That comes with, a job.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
So, learning the people. But the transition for me wasn't hard at all.
Okay, that's good. And you said it was a family, so getting there and, like you said, learning the people, but it sounds like they welcomed you, you both into the family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not everybody, but but
Okay,
I'm
right.
Keep it real
That's
now,
right,
but
right,
not
right.
everybody. But
That's life.
That's life.
That's what
life.
it is. That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. So you said not everybody. How did you handle the not everybody's?
Um,
And I say handle, not like, were you confrontational
yeah.
on it, but just how did y'all, how did you
As
deal
far
with
as as far as handling the not everybody's, you keep it moving.
Right, yeah.
You say what you say to everybody. You still speak, and if they don't want to speak, you keep it going.
That's right. That's right.
That's fine if you don't want to speak, but that didn't slow me down. I was very supportive of Michael. I was his armor bearer. Like I can tell you if Michael probably crossed his legs what he needed.
Wow.
And I always sat where I can always see him. So I didn't sit on the first row. I actually sat on the second row in front of the pulpit.
Yes.
But then I moved.
Okay.
We had pews on the side.
Okay.
So I moved there so I can see him, keep an eye on him.
Okay.
So I didn't go to church meetings. Or I stayed home.
Yes, ma'am.
I didn't go to them.
Okay.
But like I said, for the most part, it's just like anywhere else. If I can see that, you're not feeling me, so we'll keep our distance.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But I'm speak.
Okay.
And if you don't speak, then we kind of know how to handle that. We just walk by. But for the most part, I try to I tried it.
Okay.
And it was like, no. So, we just left it. Left it at that.
Because there are some situations where there are pastors and first ladies that are dealing with that. And that's why I asked, there are some people that some first ladies, they don't know what to do, how to handle it. They are with the, not everybody's, I say it like
Right.
that
Yeah.
are welcoming or, because you're going to have people that don't agree all the time.
Right, exactly.
Understandable.
Yeah.
But it can be a challenge, especially for some people. I'm a people pleaser, so I want everybody.
Yeah,
I want
I
to, let's everybody say, come by y'all, and we offer. But it's a challenge when you realize
That
you're
ain't-
just not
yeah.
going to always satisfy or please people.
Right.
They're going to be people that don't agree.
Right.
They're going to try to sow discord
Right.
amongst the saints. So that's why I asked, how did you maneuver that? How did you handle? And you're right. You just you speak,
Right.
and if they speak, that's great. If they don't, it's off of you. At least you've tried.
Right. Yeah.
So,
you pray about it.
absolutely,
And then
absolutely.
you'll go back, and then if it don't work, you just I know how to handle it. I know how to handle you.
Absolutely.
I tell you what, I didn't lose any sleep.
Come on.
I'm not gonna lose any sleep.
That's right.
Oh, I didn't. So I didn't lose any sleep. It like I said, there were times at the beginning, like why? Because like you said, being a people pleaser or just trying to make sure just everything flows and everybody agrees or just smiling.
Yeah.
But it's like it's not gonna work.
Right.
It's not gonna work.
So you do all you can.
Yeah.
And let the Lord handle it.
Right.
Right. So, so you get there, you are, what are some of the areas where you worked in? Youth. Okay.
Youth.
Absolutely.
Youth.
Yes.
That was the first things. Youth. But to be honest, it was like a small congregation.
Okay.
So, but the youth, it was first the youth. Then, of course, the women's, the women's ministry.
Okay.
But then it just got to the point of where wherever it was something was lacking, I would have my hand in it. And Olive Grove was very receptive. They was like, go for it.
Yeah.
They were not like, oh no, you can't do this.
Okay. That's
So we were like I said, a big family. So it was like, go for it.
Okay.
Go for it. And when I first got there, one of the things as a young pastor's wife, and I laugh about it. And one of the things and advice that my leading lady gave me, Lady Campbell.
Yes.
She said, be yourself.
Mm-hmm.
She said, let your no mean no, and your yes mean yes.
Okay.
But she said the most important thing is don't change who you are.
Absolutely.
And so, I took that advice with me.
Okay.
And when I first got there, there were some that's like, and I had that issue at New Ebenezer, wearing a hat.
Girl,
So I mean, you want to talk about it?
Let's talk about it, because that's been. Let's talk about it.
All right.
Okay.
So wearing a hat.
All right.
At New Ebenezer, on first Sundays, I'm not sure if they still do that now. I'm pretty sure they do, but on first Sundays, we wore the white,
Yes,
and then we wore they had on hats. So for years, I didn't wear a hat.
Okay.
Because first of all, I think my head too small, and so I just didn't wear a hat.
Okay.
So one Sunday at New Ebenezer, what changed my mindset for wearing a hat was I saw a little girl. It wasn't even a young lady; it was a little girl.
Okay.
And I think she saw me. It wasn't in the church setting. It was like in a store.
Okay.
And I was talking to her mom, and her comment was, "That's the lady that don't have on a hat on Sundays." So I was like, I think I better get a hat. So that's how I started wearing. Yes, she was like, "Yeah, that's the lady that don't wear a hat on Sundays."
And you thinking people not even paying attention?
So like a little child. Right. So it's like, okay, you gotta get yourself together.
Okay.
So I mean, nothing biblical.
No,
but it was just like, if she noticed that, then of course everybody else knows. But they, like I said, nobody really said anything to me. But she was just like, yeah, that's the lady that don't wear a hat. And so that's when I started wearing one there.
Okay.
So of course we're at our church, and I don't wear a hat, but and it wasn't they wore hats on first Sunday. It was just, I think some people it's in this tradition that pastors' wives wear hats.
Yes.
So I was like, and so I had a person to come and say, you wear hats? And I said, no, ma'am, I don't. And she said, you can wear a hat. I said, yeah, I can, but I don't.
Yes.
I don't.
Right.
So I think we had something in the fellowship hall, and then their family came there, and she's like, yeah, that's our first lady, and she don't wear a hat. And I said, no, ma'am, I don't. And so that's kind of how it was. And so, but like I said, you had certain ones that when I first got there, you want to, this is what you want, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And I was like, nah, no, I'm not going to do that. So, and that's when I really when Miss Gamble told me that, I was like, so I have to stick to who I am, and that is not me.
And it's tradition. I went through that also because I'm a PK. My dad was a pastor, so of course my mom wore the hats. That's what she wore. Every Sunday, my mom wore a hat every Sunday except Youth Sunday, dress down Sunday. But every other Sunday, she wore a hat. And hat boxes are all at the house. And she still has, and she doesn't wear them as much, but every Sunday. So when Jeremy was calling to the ministry and he became a pastor, I went into this space of not necessarily the hats, but suits, church suits, because that's what my mom wore. My mom wore church suits and hats. And so I went into this space of suits, and I got to find a suit. And then it was like one Sunday, I was trying to get ready for church, and it was like, the Lord just said, you don't have to wear that. That's not you. Find who you are. Find your space. Find who you are. It's okay.
Right.
And I was released from that.
Yeah.
I was released from that. And so I got into my own style, find my own style, and that's who I am. I don't have to be my mama.
Right.
But there are people who Absolutely. And it's tradition. Like I said, that's what they did forever. My mother-in-law wore hats. But that's just not my thing. I don't wear hats. God bless those who do.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No,
and
I
mean, you can find some
wrong.
nice ones.
It's nothing wrong. It's just, but if that's what you do, that's what you do.
I'm good.
Yeah. I want to go there and get the word.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So
yeah.
That's
interesting.
Yeah. But like I said, and I probably went off track. But
no,
as far as the ministries, that's what I meant. I did some of everything.
Okay.
And it at the beginning it was more so like, what do y'all have? Where do you need me at? Absolutely. And then we're a team. We're gonna go for it.
Yeah.
Just at the end of the day, we make sure we are building the kingdom.
Absolutely.
So I did some of everything. So at the beginning it was you, then it expanded to whatever it was that Michael needed.
Okay.
So. And we made it happen.
Absolutely, because you're a team.
Yeah,
I love it. I love it. You're a team.
It was not gonna happen. Not on his watch.
Right.
So we were gonna make it happen.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
That's my
good.
mentality.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So you are in ministry. You're pastoring, and then you become caretaker.
Yeah.
How did that transition? When was that? How was that for you?
Well, of course, Michael had sickle cell, so that born with it. So he always had that.
Okay.
One of Michael's challenges was even when we got married. Mm-hmm. So he was, because you were born with that, so you've been dealing with that all your life, right? So when we got married, there are times, you have crisis.
Yeah.
So he would have to go to the hospital.
Okay.
You stay right there. I take myself.
Wow.
I've been dealing with this all my life.
Really?
So that's the kind of mindset he had.
Okay.
So at the beginning, he would take himself.
Okay. Was that hard for you because you are the?
So at the beginning, would I say hard? I just knew Michael, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna leave it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna leave it. Like you say,
Okay.
So he was like, I've been dealing with this, and then like the second year, I was pregnant.
Okay.
With Rodney, so he was like, nope, you stay here. I'll take myself. Now, of course, you get there when it's time to go home. Then I'll release you. So then you'll call me or his sister, somebody, to
come and get him.
To come and get him and take him to his car,
so
now I drive him home.
Wow.
So, because he drove himself, so we had to just come and get him. So anyway, in the beginning, at the very beginning, I kind of like just went with the flow.
Okay.
Like, it'll change because he's been dealing with this all his life. So then eventually, I say, look, I'm your wife. Death do us part, rich and poor. We're a team.
Yes.
So he started including me on it.
Okay.
That was the marriage. So when we got to Olive Grove, he had a crisis. And it was the same thing. So he had a crisis.
Okay.
He was in there on a Sunday trying to get out. No, you not get out. So I was like, okay, it's Saturday. Mm-hmm. Like, who go preach tomorrow? Like,
right.
So I think he had already been calling someone, but like, okay, so when you gonna let the deacons know at the church?
Yeah.
I'm gonna let them know.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, okay. So he had already told the guest speaker, what to do.
Okay.
But you still ain't told nobody at the church. Wow. And he said, you can go. I said, okay, so I'm gonna go to church. And I don't have,
what am I going to tell the people?
What am I going to tell the people? So he was like, you just going to church. He didn't give me an answer. So, but anyway, he did. He finally called one of the deacons that Saturday night.
Wow.
And, and told him that he was not going to be there. And he was going to have a guest speaker.
Okay.
So that made, and that he probably had that one crisis. And I'm like, eventually you're gonna have to tell the people. Like, so he finally decided on one Sunday, hey, I have, sickle cell, of course. I know most of y'all know that.
Okay.
And, he was very honest with them. He said, I have been dealing with this all my life. So I just need y'all to give me a moment to kind of let y'all in.
Okay.
He said, I'm very private when it comes to that. But just give me a moment, and I promise you, I'm not gonna like hide nothing, but just give me a moment because I deal with this.
Okay.
Y'all don't have to deal with this. I mean, but yeah, we are together, but just give me a moment to transition into that part of my life.
Wow.
So he did tell them that, and it was like, okay. So, eventually once he said that, then it was kind of like if they didn't see him, they knew. And then for the most part, I would still come to church.
Okay.
So they'll just probably ask me like, how's Pastor doing?
Okay.
In the very beginning. And then, like I said, as the years went on, because now you know people, then he would like, okay, y'all, I have a doctor's appointment or something like that. So the caregiving part wasn't that major
Okay.
probably until the last two, probably after Michael mom passed.
Okay.
So, but like in the beginning, like caregiving, it was kind of like clockwork. Like we go to the hospital, get a transfusion, stay a couple of days, and then we go home.
Okay.
And so even with me working, it was like I'll take him to the hospital, and then I can go on to work.
Okay.
I'll bring him some breakfast. I'll go to work. I come there after work. So it was like that. I mean, and when I say Michael was very private, like when we first got married, you don't even have to call my mama. And I was like, yeah, when I say he didn't want anybody, nobody. Like, and so the mom, when she called Michael and she couldn't get him, she started figuring out. When she called him and he didn't answer, then she called me, where's my son? And I was like, and I felt bad because I'm like, you keeping stuff from your mama.
Yeah.
But that's how he was.
He just wanted to go through it himself.
Yeah.
Didn't want to bother anybody.
And
That's what it was.
Yeah, and I guess, I guess we had to put ourselves in people with, illnesses like that, chronic illnesses. It's like for 2 seconds, it's like, one of the things that I would think of is, I don't want nobody to feel sorry for me. And that was his thing. I don't want nobody to feel sorry for me. I mean, I've even taken Michael from the hospital, go home and get dressed and go preach, or vice versa. He wasn't feeling well. He would go preach, and then we would go to the hospital afterwards. Yeah, that's where I got it from.
Yeah,
that's where I got it from. There are probably a lot of things that I picked up from him since he's been gone. Really? Very direct. So, but yeah, so that, and then, like you said, just transition to being a caregiver. So at the beginning, it wasn't. It was a caregiver, but if I had to do it all over again, I'll be right there.
Absolutely.
Right there. And I don't know who could. I've had people's like, I don't know if I can do all what you did. And I say it ain't for everybody.
It's not for everybody.
It's not for everybody.
Right.
And to be honest with you, I don't even know how. I know how I did it. It was God's.
Absolutely.
It was God's strength and God's help. I know how. That was the only way. And then, like I said, the love that Michael had for me, it is nothing compared. I mean, God love is the greatest.
Yes.
But besides that, it's Michael's.
Right. Wow.
For me.
Wow.
Yeah, it's Michael's.
Yeah. So because of that love, then that's what helped you.
Yes.
Be able to care for him in that space.
Yeah.
And you're right, it's not for everybody. Everybody can't do it. But when you love someone genuinely, then you don't think twice about
No,
being there for them.
no. I was an advocate, like especially those last 2 years. I had to become the advocate for Michael. Like my children was like, especially my baby girl, she was like, "Ma, how in the world because like in the beginning we go to the hospital, when you go get checked in the ER, they ask you your medications. Michael can name all his medication. I'm looking like, how you know all that?
Right.
Yeah, if you take all
You
that,
take
and
all
then
that
how
and
do
you
you know?
remember
and
that,
you remember that,
right.
like to the down to the dosage. He
Wow.
knew all of that.
Okay.
So the last 2 years, that was me. Like he take this, he take that, he take this, and it even got to the point to where I had some of the nurses. They said, "You a nurse?" I was like, "No."
Wow.
This come clockwork. Like you ain't gonna do it. I'll do it myself.
Because this is my husband.
Right. And they knew, like, when I came in, when I was coming down the hall, it's like,
Yes, she
is his room right? Yeah, because if not, I'm coming back out and I'm going to tell you what needs to be done. I had notes on his bed, like on the air, where the controller for the air conditioner, please do not turn it up to past this degrees. He has sickle cell, so that means it does not need to be cold in
That's
here.
right.
Certain kind of tape on his arm. Please do not put this. I need the.
I love it.
Yeah, I had notes on the
Absolutely.
bed. So
Yeah.
like this is what needs to be done. Had all his medications. If they didn't have them, I'm like, I got it at home.
Okay.
I just need you to. I bring it. You get it approved.
Yes.
And because he needs to take this. So like I said, in the last 2 years, as far as that caregiving piece, that's what it. That's what, for me, the caregiving piece then. For the most part, Michael, he took very good care of himself, because most people's like, yo, he got sickle cell. Like, yeah. And it's like, well, he don't look like it. I said, he took very good care of himself.
Yeah.
And for, men, most of the time, they don't like to go to if something's wrong, the doctor, oh, he front and center. Like, I'm going, something's not right, or this is hurting or whatever. So he always, I probably was the one who's like, I'll be okay. Give me some kind of remedy. Let me think about what grandma and granddaddy
used to do.
used to do. So it was like, yeah. Okay. But I didn't have a problem with him not going. He would do what needed to be done. Okay. Yeah. So I did that. The last year of Michael's life, he had to end up doing dialysis.
Okay.
So that was a challenge for us, because who wants to do that anyway? Right. But he did, and then when we started, it was like he wanted to do it at home. So I was like, so Michael get in the beginning of our marriage, he got transfusions. Okay. So of course, going in the hospital, they got to stick you. Yeah. So I went from him being stuck to I'll leave out the room because I didn't like needles, to where I had to actually give him the needle. I had to stick him.
Really?
So I knew, like, this whole journey was only preparation for whatever God got me for next. But going from there, and when he said he wanted to do that, I was like, Lord, how in the world? And I told her, I said, Michael, I got to stick you.
I have to stick you. Like, are you sure you?
And he said, Nikki, you can do it. He said, I know you can do it. So, I was like, Lord, what? I mean, you're going to have to help me through this. So I had to go through the training and all that. And then we did dialysis at home. Wow. So.
Wow. Growth.
Yeah.
That's what I had, growth. You grew through this whole process, this journey. Yeah.
So I was like, and I did it. I mean, it wasn't no looking back, because he wanted to do it at home. Right. So I wanted to make sure that he was happy. And that's what we did.
What you did. Yeah. So you were able to get over that, not liking needles, to the point where you are doing dialysis at home. Yeah. Wow. So you are in that space, and you're helping him that last year. What are some lessons that you learned in the time of being the caretaker and watching him as he went through this journey himself? What are some lessons you think that you learned?
One of the is biblical. I can do all things through Christ.
Yes.
Who strengthens me. That if
That's
I
your
don't,
testimony.
that,
You are, yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
it was. I mean, because even during that time, I still went to church. And see, we were just coming back from the COVID,
Right.
so doing that, I was doing the announcements. I was giving them updates on Michael, but it was, I was just walking with God. Like I don't know what tomorrow's gonna bring, but I'm just gonna walk with you. So that's one lesson. And another one would be I'm trying to think. Love, it was love.
Love,
It was just love, like love at all costs.
Yes. Right.
Love at all costs. Like I said, if I had to do it over, I'll do it again. I'll do it again. But love at all costs.
Love at all costs. Wow. Yeah. No matter what.
No matter what.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Michael is going on to be with the Lord. Transition has been the theme that every time I thought about us getting together, it's transitioning from being right there while he's pastoring to now you're on this side of widow.
Right.
So First Lady, right? So how has that been for you, for moving from he's here, he's pastoring, to now he's gone? And so now what? Where do I fit in? How do I fit in? Because there are first ladies who are in this space, right? And so that was something that I really knew I wanted to talk to you about. Like, how was that?
So it's challenging.
Okay.
Very.
Okay.
Challenging with all capital letters.
Okay. Okay.
So going from in the beginning, I stayed at our church. I couldn't leave until God released me.
Yes.
All of us are on assignment. And some was like, why are you still there? I was like, I can't go until God released me.
Yeah.
If you don't get it, you don't get it.
Yes.
And if you know, you know.
You know. And I can't explain it to you.
I can't explain it to you,
right.
but if you don't, it's just what it is.
It is, yeah.
So I think I only stayed, it was maybe 2-3 months.
Okay.
And I was going at the beginning of that month, getting up and going, but my son wasn't going. And he said, Mom, I can't go there.
Yeah.
He said, Dad is not there.
Yeah.
So I was going by myself.
Okay.
And then probably that next month, it was like I was struggling to get up, because you go to church. We were going to church every Sunday. I mean, of course, if Michael couldn't go, but for 11 years it was.
That's what we did.
That's what we did.
Yeah.
So I was.
And he would have wanted you.
Yes.
Expected you.
Yes.
Come on, Nikki, you gotta go.
I mean, like even with my son, he knew Sundays.
Yeah.
It's time to go to church.
Right.
So I found myself like struggling.
Okay.
It's like, what am I to do? What do you want me to do out there? So it wasn't. God wasn't giving me any assignments. I was like, so where am I to go?
Yeah.
Where am I to go? Am I gonna go back to where Michael and I started, or am I gonna go back to my home church? So I pondered on that. One Sunday I got up and I was headed to Olive Grove. I said, nah, don't go there.
Yeah.
So I turned and I went to a church I'd never been to before.
Okay.
I went there, and I went there that one Sunday. But I still was like, so where am I go, worship? So I was like, thinking and praying. Going back to the church where Michael and I was, that's still attached to Michael.
Yeah.
Because now I'm dealing with who is Nikki?
Right. Yes. Yes.
Who is Nikki?
Yeah.
And Michael was my covering. So it was Nikki and Michael for 16 years.
Absolutely.
So like I said, now is who is Nikki. So I end up I prayed and I prayed. Didn't go to New Ebenezer because that was Nikki and Michael.
Yes.
So I went back to my home church in Florence, and when I got there, probably I ended up rejoining my home church on which would have been Michael and I pastoral anniversary.
Really?
So I ended up joining there on that Sunday, and I sat at the back for a couple of months because, and I sat back there, it's like, I had some people like, why you sitting at the back? First of all, as long as I'm in here.
Right.
That's the first
I'm
thing.
here.
But I was like, and I told him I wasn't
Yeah.
smart with them.
Okay.
I told him, I said, well, I got to sit back because I was very, very active where I came from. Like I said, like anything that needed to be done and nobody, could do it,
You did.
I did it.
Right.
And like I said, Olive Grove was very supportive. Very supportive. I couldn't ask for a better church. I promise
awesome.
you,
Yeah.
I could not ask for a better church. But very active, and then just, transitioning. Wasn't caught up on the title. It was just that being active and doing, and then now it's like, it's not the same. So I went to my home church and sat at the back. When I first got there, it's like, oh, and it wasn't everybody. Certain people. Oh, you can do this, you can do that. I was like, no, I don't want to do nothing.
Yeah.
So I did that for a whole year
Okay.
because you can't go somewhere and then I'm not the pastor's wife anymore. So I can't go in here and think I'm the pastor's wife.
Exactly. Because you're not.
I'm not the pastor's wife.
Yeah.
So and I don't want to go in there and just, I'm in a different role now. So I like I said, I sat back for a year. And I finally moved up.
Okay.
Probably was this year. Finally moved up. Halfway, still not in the,
Yeah.
it's about 6 seats from the front.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I moved up. Still not that active yet because God hasn't, led me to
Where
I need to be. Now I've talked to my leading lady, and we talked about some things.
Okay.
So just waiting on the timing, God's timing.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of where I'm at now. And I don't go to church every Sunday. I don't. And then if I feel like going to visit another church,
You have the freedom.
I have the freedom to do that. So, like I said, that's kind of where I'm at, just trying to figure out life without Michael.
Right. Yeah.
So.
And this could be that time of rest, restoration, having people pour into you, and it's okay.
Yeah,
that's okay. No one should expect you to just, like you said, jump in. Like, I'm here now and I'm gonna do all of these things. No, this is a time as reflection,
right?
Finding out again, who is Nikki?
Yeah,
where does Nikki fit in? And asking the Lord, where would you have me to be? Because like you said earlier, it's a calling, it's a purpose. So I'm here, but we don't want to work outside of the purpose.
Right.
And so it's important, like you said, just be there, supportive, and the Lord let you know.
Yeah.
He'll let you know where you're supposed to be. And it's okay.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
okay. It's okay.
it's
And I
okay.
think that's what people need to understand. It's okay. But I will say strength is who you are. Because I remember, finding out that he had passed away, and I think you spoke at his funeral.
Yeah, I did.
And I wasn't there, but I remember hearing about it. I was like, she's amazing. That's just the strength.
Oh yeah, that's all it was.
And I'm sure people, I know I was praying for you.
Yes.
And I'm sure sometimes it's, not sometimes, we survived during that period of loss by the prayers of folks.
Yeah.
That's how you make it. Yeah.
I've had people to like say, like even for Michael's funeral, I didn't shed not one tear. Really? And I didn't, and as far as shedding tears, it could be different things. So, some people, it could be different things when people shed tears. Some people shed tears of joy. Yeah. But as far as like, even like after the death, okay, I'm dealing with the grief part of it. I'm dealing with that.
Yeah.
But it was more so to where, when I knew that I did everything that I could for my husband. Yeah. And I have some people, it can be negative and it can be positive. However you want to put it. Right. However you want to put it in your math book.
Yes.
But, I have some people like she's moved on and, her husband just passed. Yeah, I can. And I can hold my head up. Right. Because I took care of my husband.
Yes.
And so when you know that you've done all that you could, then I don't have to sit back and like, oh, what if I could have done this? Or what if I could have done that? And Michael and I talked even before he left. Like a year before he left, he told me, who you want to preach? Right. He told me, Nikki, something happened to me. He said, don't you be at that grave site every day, all the time. He said, because only dead things are out there. Wow. And he said, so you got to keep living. And he told me, don't do no balloon releases over me.
Okay.
So I said, okay. I was like, oh, okay. He said, no, I don't. He said, I'm memorial. Don't do that. He said, now, whoever want to do that, that's fine. But I don't want that. So,
and people don't know the conversations
right.
that you have, right?
So
you're on the outside looking in, you have no idea.
You have no idea.
Right.
So as far as to keep living and know I'm not living my best life. I'm just living. Because I was living with Michael, and I have to continue to. Yes. And start living. I was living with him as well, so it's no start living. Right. But like I said, the challenge for me, and I never thought of it that way, because it was Michael and Nikki, and then I always try to make sure that Michael was fine, and I mean it was absolutely it was reciprocal. But what I'm saying is like now it's like I don't have to say, well, let me check with Michael, right? So whatever I feel like doing. I can do, So one of the things I do now is kind of like travel. Yeah. Okay. So just travel with some of my girlfriends. Okay. We travel. I spend time with my family. My boy, he's in that 16 and driving. Yeah. So Mom, I'll talk to you when I get home. Things like that. So yeah. Okay. That's kind of where I'm at now. Okay. And just trying to keep praying and be in position for, the next. Absolutely. So how are you dealing with your grief? Do you have a good support team? I do. Good. I do. Okay. I actually have a great therapist, a counselor. Awesome. I love her dearly. Okay, I tell people. Good. It's okay. It's okay. Tell the people. It's okay. It is okay yes. to see a therapist or a counselor. You can love the Lord and still have a therapist. There's nothing wrong with it. Yes. Right. I mean, I love it, just talking. Okay. Just talking and getting different strategies and affirmations to keep going.
Yes.
So I do that. One of the things that I have picked up on is I go to the gym. That's kind of like my piece.
Okay.
So I work out. Trying to eat healthier, and just tone and be fit.
Right.
So that's
take care of your body. Yeah.
That's what I do.
Okay.
So those are some of the different things that I've done since Michael has passed.
Okay.
And like I said, just finding out, you don't I didn't realize, like, well, I think I like doing this.
Okay.
And it's just a whole totally different thing, or you know what, I didn't really like that.
doing that, right?
But I mean, so
Yeah.
and I can change that up now,
Okay.
So like I said, that's what I've been doing, and just trying to be in positions like, Lord, what, what's next? So
Wow. Yeah. So I know you. So we came in and I saw your socks.
yes,
I was like, "Ooh, I love your socks." And you said you are a sock girl because
because Michael was a sock guy.
sock guy.
Yeah.
So what? And you told me, what do you do now?
So what I do now is
Share with the people.
I have my socks that he has brought for me.
Okay.
But I also wear his.
Wow.
So I'll keep that going. And I mean, and of course with the Sickle Cell Foundation, you know, if you can support that.
Absolutely.
But like I said, yeah, socks. I'll keep that going. And Michael was a fashionable guy, so I think most people knew that. Like, if we had some place to go to a banquet, I was like, Michael, I don't think Michael go pick out my dress.
Wow. Really?
Down to the heels, yes. I mean, and it wasn't to the point where Michael, no, I don't like that.
Okay.
And
He
most
put it
women,
together, right?
women would say, I can't get my husband mine, my blazers. I mean, down to the shoes, down to the dresses. Michael, I can just send him I can be at work and he'll call me. He's like, which one of these you like? Because these are two I picked out. And I had no problem.
Amazing.
Yeah, I had no problem with him.
Okay.
Picking out my
That's so
dresses.
cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
That's
but yeah,
good.
I love socks.
Yes.
Because he how the kids say, put me on game.
Yeah,
with
put
that.
you on game, right?
Put me. I think they still say that.
Yeah, I
so
think.
put me on,
Yeah, we have to ask your son. Yeah,
I'm
right.
gonna have to ask. Yeah, so they put
You
me
got to
on game with
stay,
that.
cool,
Yeah.
because they say the wrong thing.
Yeah.
They'll let us know.
Yes.
Hey, no, that we're not saying that anymore. Right.
Anymore.
So you have a good support team. You're
do.
seeing a therapist. That's awesome. And just taking care of yourself.
Yes.
Right. Just taking care of yourself. That's important. And find out who Nikki is.
Yeah. That's what
Yeah.
I'm doing. How they say Finding Nemo?
Right.
That's old, but yeah. That's what I'm doing. Like just finding who Nikki really is.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So what would you tell another woman who is in this space that you are in, who has lost their husband who was a pastor? What is something that you would share, or something that you've learned, or some words of encouragement that you would give to them?
I would say keep living. And it's okay to be in a silent season.
Ooh, that's good.
It's okay to be in a silent season.
Yeah.
Because in your silent season, you can discover who you are and to remain true to yourself.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's okay to have a silent season.
That's good. That's good. And that we can use that in all areas of our life, right? You don't have to be out and talking and sharing and all. It's okay. And it's good to have people in your corner that understand that you're in that season.
Right.
And it's okay for sometimes you just need people there. You don't have to talk.
No.
You don't have to say it. Just knowing that you got me. And if I need to talk, I know you're there. But I'm in this season right now, and I just need you to understand that.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good. Because that in the silent season is when the Lord deals.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
you can hear, because sometimes we're talking to the Lord so much. Lord, I need this, I need that. I want you to do this, and can you do this? And Lord, I'm going through this, to the point where He can't even talk. Right? You've talked to, I'm sure you've talked to people and you can't get you're trying to, because and they are constantly talking. So I think that's how the Lord is with us. Like, okay, I hear you.
Right.
Now be quiet.
Right. Yeah. And that's probably me. Like, Nikki, I just need you to be quiet. Just be quiet.
Yeah.
Just be quiet.
Yeah.
So
good. I know there's one more point I wanted to kind of go back in. So at the beginning you said you were overthinker.
Mm-hmm.
You like to plan, you like to know how everything is going to work out. This wasn't in your plan.
What? No. And
you knew he had sickle cell, and I'm sure, and we understand that is an illness.
Yeah.
A chronic illness, but this, I'm sure. But tell me, what I'm thinking is, you have this plan and you think, we have this life and we're going to do this, and this. But then he gets sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I tell you that God walked me through this whole thing,
yeah,
he did.
Okay.
He, most of the time when God talked to me, it's in the shower.
Okay.
And I'm like, because some stuff, it's quiet, and you just kind of like just concentrating on you. So it's like when his mom died, that probably was a great big toll on Michael.
Okay.
And that's kind of when the complications started with the sickle cell.
Okay.
And for our audience, Michael was very good with words.
Okay.
So he told me, he said, Nikki, if something ever happened to me again, some of these talks, he said, if when I leave here, most people gonna say I died of sickle cell. He said no. He said, you make sure you tell them I died of complications of sickle cell. He said, because I always had sickle cell.
Right.
He said, so it's complications. So when somebody, I said, no, he died of complications.
Okay.
So when the complications started happening, that was more the long stays in the hospital. And then, so when we got kind of to the end, he was kind of in and out. And the last time I got Michael out of the hospital, God didn't tell me when, but he told me, he said, if he goes back in, he ain't coming back out. But he didn't tell me when.
Right.
So we did that. I brought him home, and probably within 2 months, 2 or 3 months, I think Michael preached his last sermon in May of 2022.
Okay.
I think May 20th, it's like around that time, right before my birthday.
Okay.
And our anniversary. And he had to go, he went back in the hospital on May 26th.
Okay.
But that was the time when he went back in there. They let him out on, I think it was June the 3rd of 2022. Well, before June 3rd, because June 3rd was his birthday.
Okay.
So just imagine, and that's a funny joke. My son, myself, and Michael are Geminis. So all the girls at the house is like, all y'all in the house together. I don't know about what's going
so
on.
I'm a Gemini,
Oh, really?
and my brother's a Gemini too. So I can only imagine.
So yeah, all of
girl,
us are Geminis.
yes.
I mean, our birthdays are like all in 1 week.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So
okay.
So anyway.
Okay.
So yeah, that's how I kind of know the dates.
Yeah.
So he went in that time, and then that's when he got out.
Okay.
And that's when when I was picking him up, God spoke to me. He's like, if you go back in, Nikki, he's not coming back out. So I heard a voice, but you know how you hear, and it's like, Lord, I don't want to talk about it today.
Yeah.
So
not today, Lord.
Not today. So we got out, and but before he went in that time, Michael's never gone in on my birthday or anniversary. He's always been out of the hospital, but this time he was in there on our anniversary, my birthday. And so, but before he went in, my son had his 8th grade promotion ceremony.
Okay.
And so before that date, Michael, he wasn't feeling well, but he told me, he said, well, I'm gonna see Rodney graduate. And my mind, I was like, okay, Lord, what he meant by that? Because he ain't feeling well. And then but he also just said graduate. And he said graduate. So in my mind, I'm trying to put it, that means he gonna be here for graduation. Because this 8th grade promotion. You know,
Right,
I was trying to
Yeah.
just detail that thing,
Absolutely.
like,
Yeah.
so when he said that, and I kept that in my mind, and then of course, like I said, he went in the hospital, and then when I went to pick him up, that's when God said, if he go back in, he come back out. So I was like, okay. And like I said, okay, Lord, I hear you. But I was also in my mind saying, but Micah told me graduation.
Yeah.
So he said graduation.
He said
Lord.
graduation.
So that means, Rodney's getting high school graduation.
Yeah.
And so, left it like that. And then Michael had his birthday. His birthday is June 3rd.
Okay.
So we were home. And then I had to take him back June 7th. So I knew what God told me.
Yeah.
I put that in the back of my mind. And so we went there. He was there for 30 days. So 30 days, I walked him to the hospital every single day.
Yeah.
And then he passed on July the 7th. And before he passed, probably about a week before he passed, he called me one night about 11 o'clock and asked me, can I come to the hospital? Never done that before.
Okay.
Never. And so I was like, okay. Said, you all right? He said, yeah, I'm okay. So I went up there, and because I told my daughter, I said, I'll be back. I'm going to the hospital. She said, why are you going this late? I said, he want me to come up there. I said, I don't know. And I was like, just trying to just think of it as a normal day.
Yeah.
Or a normal thing. So I went up there, and when I got there, he was asleep. I always take my laptop because my MacBook, my workbook, it kept me busy.
Yeah.
It kept me busy. I probably used to work maybe doing work probably about 15, 16 hours. I would leave from work and come back home. So when I was doing dialysis, that's what I would do.
Okay.
Just to keep my mind just kind of occupied.
Yeah.
Like, health declining, but I'm keep going.
Absolutely.
So anyway, went there and he was asleep, and I came in. I said, you sleep? And he was like, no, I'm up. He got up. And then so I got on my MacBook because he went back to sleep. I probably stayed about 2 hours. And then I said, well, I'm going to go ahead and leave and get some sleep, and I'll be back in the morning. So I gave him a kiss, and then he told me, he said, Nicki, I love you. And I said, I love you too. And when I came back the next morning, he wasn't talking that much. So then they moved him to, ICU. And so that was the last thing he said to me.
Wow.
Then, so. So like I said, it as far as not expecting that, I can't say because there were nights, and even like after that, I think it was 2 weeks later, in the shower, getting in bed because you don't know whether you're gonna get a call. So I wasn't sleeping, just kind of tossing and turning. I had my phone right there, and so that's kind of when it was like God saying, Nicki, there's nothing else you can do. You're not me. You've done all you can do. Yeah. There's nothing else you can do.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of like, I still have faith. I was even to the point too where I wanted to go talk to the funeral home, but then I was like, if I do, that's my faith wavering.
Right.
So I was like, I'm not going. Just to kind of see where things were as far as like, do I have enough? Where
that's
would
the
I
planner
be?
in you.
Yes. So
Yes.
I was like, but during that time I couldn't. I was like, because Lord, if I go, then I'm saying that you can't do. I don't trust you.
Yes.
So I didn't go.
Okay.
I didn't go.
Okay.
And then one July 7th that morning, I had got a call from the doctor, and he was like, you know, Ms. Spears, you know, there's nothing else that, you know, that those words, there's nothing else I can do.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, thank you, doctor. I said, but you weren't doing it anyway.
Right.
I appreciate your
Yes,
practice. I mean,
yes,
not that,
yes.
you know, but I'm just saying, you weren't. It was God that was keeping him here.
Yeah.
And I said, so I thank you for everything, and you know, and so he said, you coming up here? And I said, yes, sir. I'll be there in a little bit. I was already dressed when the doctor called me. He called me about 7, but I was already dressed.
Okay.
And then the nurse called me probably about 8 o'clock, and she was asking me when I was going to come up there. And I told her, you know, I'll be there. I was taking my time that day. And I called my aunt and told her, you know, let's go by the funeral home before I go there.
Okay.
So I went by the funeral home then, and you know, talked. And he said, you're good. And so when I was at the funeral home, the nurse called me again. She said, Ms. Spears, you know, when you come in, I was like, I'm right around the corner. I'll be there. And so it was kind of like, you know, we got there. I walked in. I had my head up. I was like, you know, what's gonna be? It's gonna be God. You know, so we gonna go in here together. And so I went in there, and then she, you know, she asked, can she take the you know, the medications off of him? And I told her yes. Never been in that situation. So I didn't know what to expect. So I didn't call my kids or anything. I just didn't,
You didn't
know.
know. Right.
And so she took the medicine. You know, they don't really say anything. This last, can they take it off? You know, so I didn't know, you know.
This
so.
was where we were
Right.
going. Yeah.
I didn't. And so she, you know, she took all the medicines off of him. And probably within 15 minutes, he took his last breath. And so, and I told him I had it from here.
Yeah.
So that's where it was.
And so that's, again, going back to y'all had the conversations, you knew what he wanted. And that's the strength. And like you said, God, you did everything you could do. And it was in God's hand.
Yeah, it was
in God's hand. And even in those moments, you have to remember that even through that, all is well.
Yeah.
All is well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we can plan, we can try to have all the thoughts, and we're going to do this and we do that. But at the end of the day, God is in control.
Yep. And
once we learn how to trust him again, then I'm not going to say it's going to be easy, but it's doable. We're able to get through it. He's right there with us.
Right. And whatever it is, you know, we look at different situations like, I don't know if I can handle that. I said, don't say that.
Don't say that.
Because you don't know what God's going to bring your way.
Absolutely.
And I mean, and if he bring you to it and you really trust God, you gonna make it.
Yeah.
Now, are you gonna cry?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Are you gonna hurt? Absolutely. Are you gonna be mad? Absolutely.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You're gonna go through all those things.
All those emotions.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, you gotta trust God.
You gotta trust him. And he's still good.
Yes.
He is still good.
And he works everything out for our good.
For our good. For our good. Yes, he does.
We might not see it, and that's what we have to do. We have to stop getting glasses and trying to see things with our own eyes. Just trust the process.
Right.
Because just like that wall is up, there's probably much more on the other side. But you got to trust God to get you over there.
Absolutely.
Just be in position.
Yeah. Just be in position. That's awesome.
Just be in position.
Yes. I think that's a good place. Oh, I love it. Oh, that gave me chills. Just be in position. Yeah. So I thank you for coming and hanging out with me on the second row today. You have inspired me. I'm sure you've inspired many others that are out there watching. That's just going through not just loss, but wherever they may be right now. You know, again, you just have to trust God in all that.
Yes.
Where we are. And we can't see our way.
Right.
Even with the glasses on. Right?
Yeah,
You can't see your way, but just knowing that God is in control.
Yes.
And there's nothing too hard for him if we just continue to trust him. Yeah.
Yeah.
So real quick, I end with some, what are your favorites? So kind of on a lighter note, what is your favorite vacation spot? Because you like to travel now. So where,
So far, my favorite vacation spot is where we going? I like San Antonio, Texas.
Really?
Yeah.
Haven't been there. Is it hot? It's hot.
Yeah.
But you enjoyed it?
We enjoyed it.
Okay.
We enjoyed it.
Okay.
I like that spot.
Okay.
I like that. And the second place would be, where did we go? Tennessee. What part?
In the mountains?
It
No.
wasn't in the mountains.
Okay.
It wasn't in the mountains. Oh, God, I can't remember the place
Okay.
we went. But yeah, but
Tennessee.
I like Texas though. I like Texas. We just visit Texas, but I like out there. I like the people.
Okay.
So it was fun being
Good. What's your favorite food? Favorite meal? Favorite type of food?
My favorite meal. Well, I don't eat meat.
Okay.
So let's see. I love cabbage.
Okay.
So I would have to say like, vegetables.
Okay.
So
Okay.
So I don't, because I don't eat meat.
Okay. How long have you been on that journey?
2 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
2 years.
So, what's your favorite movie?
Loving basketball.
Really? Because you're a basketball.
Yeah, loving basketball. That's
Okay.
gonna always be number one.
Really? Yeah. Okay. I know your favorite scripture.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a favorite actress?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
No.
Okay. Favorite place to shop?
Favorite place to shop. I got different ones.
Really? Okay. What are some? Well, give us a few of them then.
So I mean, of course, Belt.
Belt,
I like
right.
Belt. And then I like Talbot.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Every now and then, if Michael was here, I'd be there a whole lot. But
Okay.
but I mean, I like that. I'm trying to think of another one. TJ Maxx.
Okay. Yeah.
TJ Maxx,
Yeah. Gotta like TJ Maxx. Yeah. Okay. So, you giving advice to those who may have lost their husband. So, what would you advice would you give to a new first lady? Husband just became pastor, or has been a pastor, let's say a year or so, and they're still trying to figure all this out. What advice would you give to them?
I have to give them the same advice that was given to me. And
Yes.
that's, don't change who you are.
Absolutely.
Don't change who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think I've told Michael and I have been to pastoral installations.
Okay.
And so I'll tell, whispering, especially if they're young, I'll tell them, don't change who you are. That your no mean no and your yes mean yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. Great advice.
Yes.
Great advice. Well, again, I thank you for joining me today. It has been awesome.
Yes.
It's been very good conversation. And I thank you for just being who you are.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you a
And
lot.
also, too, I got to let you guys know this is a sorrow.
Oh, yes, it is.
Shout out to Delta Sigma Theta Sorority
That's
Incorporated.
right.
Yes. So, again, I thank you. And thank you, too, for joining us today on the second row. It has been an honor to speak with Mrs. Spears, Mrs. First Lady. You're still going to be First Lady, Mrs. Spears. And I thank you again for joining us. So, please remember to join us. You can catch us on YouTube, as well as all podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. Make sure you tell someone about us, and just share the goodness. I hope you've gotten some good tidbits. I know I have to encourage me on this journey. And again, as I end, always, no matter where you are, no matter where you find yourself, remember to accept it, embrace it, and flourish in it. Thank you. We see you next time.